Hello, my friend. Close your eyes for just a moment and picture this. 500 years ago, a man sits alone by candlelight, sketching a machine that could lift a person into the sky like a bird. Another page, a suit that let someone breathe deep underwater. Another, a rolling fortress that could protect soldiers on a battlefield. These weren't toys or daydreams. They were detailed, precise drawings of inventions the world wouldn't see for centuries. Who was this man? And how did he see so far into the future when almost no one around him could? Stay with me. Because today, we're stepping into the remarkable life of Leonardo da Vinci, a story that reminds every one of us what's possible when curiosity refuses to stay quiet. Imagine being born in 1452 in a quiet little hill town called Vinci, nestled in the gentle countryside of Italy. The world around you is alive with flowing streams, rustling olive trees, and birds wheeling across the sky. But from the very beginning, young Leonardo faced invisible walls. His father was a respected notary who wrote important legal papers, yet Leonardo was born outside of marriage. In that era, society labeled such children as illegitimate. Doors that swung open for other boys, doors to formal education, to certain careers, even to full acceptance in polite society, remained firmly shut for him. He couldn't simply follow in his father's footsteps. University was out of reach. Many paths that others took for granted were closed before he even learned to walk. Yet one path remained open, quiet and inviting, the world of art and observation. And Leonardo walked through it with wide, wondering eyes. Picture him as a boy wandering those green hills. He would sit for hours beside a stream, watching how water curled around stones, how sunlight danced on leaves, how birds adjusted their wings to catch the wind. Most children asked why once or twice and moved on. Leonardo never stopped. He carried notebooks, sketching what he saw, writing down questions that kept him awake at night. Why does the sky blush at sunset? How do muscles move beneath the skin? What makes a bird stay aloft while a stone falls? These weren't passing thoughts. They became treasures he turned over and over in his mind. When he was about 14, his father took a chance and brought him to Florence, one of the most vibrant cities in Europe. This was the heart of the Renaissance, a time of rebirth when people dared to look at the world with fresh wonder. In Florence, Leonardo entered the workshop of a master artist named Andrea del Verrocchio. There, he didn't just learn to mix paints. He studied sculpture, metalwork, mathematics, architecture, and the science behind every craft. The workshop buzzed like a living classroom, filled with the sounds of hammers, the smell of pigments, and the excitement of discovery. Leonardo threw himself into the work with quiet intensity. He observed everything. He practiced with patience and precision. And before long, his talent began to shine in ways that surprised even his teacher. There's a well-known tale from those early days. Verrocchio was working on a grand painting of the baptism of Christ and asked young Leonardo to paint one of the angels. When the master saw the result, the angel looked so lifelike, so full of grace and light, that legend says Verrocchio set down his own brush, humbled by the beauty his student had created. Whether every detail of that story is exact, one thing is certain: Leonardo saw the world differently. He studied how light kissed a cheek, how shadows folded into fabric, how the tiniest crease around someone's eyes told a story of joy or sorrow. He didn't want to simply copy what he saw on the surface. He wanted to understand the hidden rules behind beauty itself. That deep hunger to know why would guide every chapter of his life. In his early 30s, Leonardo moved to Milan and offered his services to the powerful Duke Ludovico Sforza. In his letter to the Duke, he listed incredible skills, designing strong bridges, creating machines for defense and for peace, inventing new ways to build. Painting? He mentioned that almost in passing. The Duke recognized something special in this restless mind and took him in. For nearly 2 decades in Milan, Leonardo's creativity flowed freely. It was there that he created one of the most powerful artworks ever made, The Last Supper. On the wall of a monastery dining hall, he painted Jesus and his disciples at the dramatic moment when Jesus reveals that one among them will betray him. Instead of stiff, distant figures, Leonardo showed real human hearts reacting, faces alive with shock, sorrow, confusion, and love. People traveled from across the region just to stand before it in awe, feeling as though they had stepped into the scene itself. But painting was only one room in the vast house of Leonardo's mind. He filled thousands upon thousands of notebook pages with drawings and notes on anatomy, engineering, nature, and flight. He studied the human body through careful observation, gaining knowledge that would astonish doctors centuries later. And then came the inventions that still take our breath away, designs for a spinning aerial machine, a parachute to float safely to Earth, an armored vehicle, a diving suit, and clever portable bridges. None of these were built in his lifetime. The tools, materials, and engines simply didn't exist yet. But the ideas were complete, elegant, and far ahead of their time. Centuries later, when engineers finally tested some of them, many worked beautifully. Imagine that, a man in the 1400s drawing machines the 20th century would recognize and build. That is the power of a mind that refuses to accept limits. Of course, Leonardo's journey wasn't a straight path of unbroken triumph. He was restless, moving between cities and patrons. He started grand projects and sometimes left them unfinished when a new question pulled him in a different direction. A massive bronze horse for Milan, a sweeping battle scene in Florence, some dreams stayed on paper. Critics whispered that he promised much but delivered less. Yet inside, Leonardo couldn't slow down. The world was too rich, too mysterious, too full of wonder for one lifetime to contain. Later in life, he faced new challenges. In Rome, younger artists like Michelangelo and Raphael were rising stars. Leonardo, with his long white beard and thoughtful presence, sometimes felt like an outsider again, still searching for a true home. Then, in 1516, an invitation arrived from across the mountains. The young King Francis I of France, a lover of beauty and ideas, welcomed him with a gracious home near the royal palace, support for his work, and most beautifully, the simple gift of conversation. Leonardo brought his notebooks and his beloved portrait of a woman with an enigmatic smile, the painting we now call the Mona Lisa. In the peaceful house called Close Loose, he spent his final years talking with the king about art, science, and the secrets of the universe. On May 2, 1519, at the age of 67, Leonardo passed away. According to tradition, the king himself was by his side. He left behind a legacy that still touches us, paintings that changed how we see humanity, drawings of the body that advanced medicine, and ideas that helped shape the modern world. My friend, Leonardo da Vinci taught us that true genius begins not with privilege, but with curiosity and persistence. Despite many closed doors, he never stopped wondering and asking questions. His life shows that setbacks are simply steps on the path of a mind that refuses to quit. You're walking that same path right now. You don't need perfect conditions, just the courage to keep looking, keep questioning, and keep moving forward. Look at something ordinary today, ask one honest question, and let curiosity guide you. That same spark lives in all of us. Thank you for joining me. Tell me in the comments what inspired you most. Until next time, keep your mind curious and your heart brave. Never stop learning. Take care, my friend.